Sport Fishing on the Fly is brought to you by Maui Jim Sunglasses. First Tellurium Corp., the future of mining. And Hardy Rods and Reels.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Rick Passek, a Fly Fish Fanatic, and welcome to another episode of On the Bench, Sport Fishing on the Fly. Today we're going to tie I love tying these, a little Spey pattern, well, big Spey pattern. Great for steelhead, great for Chinooks or spring salmon. Really, really good pattern. It's done really well for me over the years, and I love swinging these. So, but even more so, to be honest, I love tying them. So, here we go. So today in the vise we have a Tiemco TMC 8089 in a size 6. It is a fairly large hook. I'm going to be using some Semperfli Nanosilk in white. Normally I use black, but I'm almost out of my black, so I'm just going to use that just to do the head, but it won't matter that it's white underneath. For the butt sections, there's going to be 2 little butt sections. The first one is going to be some red floss. This one's from Danville's. It's actually a flat wax nylon, but it's a floss type nylon. And then I'm going to be using some Semperfli cornflower floss for the second little highlighted section. For the main body, I'm going to be using some black holographic tinsel. And then for the rib, I'm going to be using some medium silver, gotta get it, just some medium silver wire. This one's from Semperfli. And then I will be using some dyed black fox tail for a little, it's going to be like a ball that's in behind to hold everything out. And then for the under collar, or the first collar, I'm going to be using some large dot Silver Dr. Blue Guinea Fowl. And then for the over collar, or the second collar, I'm going to be using some Teal flank. This is large, extra, like quite large. So, alrighty, let's go. Let's have some fun. So let's start some wax on there. I'm just going to start my thread a little bit behind the eye there. Like I said, I really enjoy tying these. I have a lot of fun tying Spey patterns. Really enjoy doing them. They're just nice big flies. I mean, for an old guy, they're easy to see, and they're just fun to experiment with as well. So I'm going to come up to the point of the fly, the point of the hook, and I'm just going to come back a little bit. I'm going to grab that red floss or whatever you have. This, like I said, this happens to be the Danville's flat wax nylon. But if you've got an actual floss, use that. I do, but the floss I have, I'm not very happy with. It frays too much. This doesn't. So it just means I have to do a little bit more. I have to go over it a couple extra times. That's all. So I want about a 1/4 of an inch long little butt. And then, I just bumped my camera. Let me just refocus that for you guys. Just going to come back over top of it, and I'm going to come right off of there, right to the back, and then come back forward again. So I'm just creating a little red butt hot spot right in the back here. I'm going to bring my thread back right up against that red. And then I'm going to lock that in, tie that in. Okay, just give my vise a turn. Okay, now I'm going to come forward a little bit and do the same with that cornflower blue floss from Semperfli. Just going to lay that in and right up to that red. Right up there, and come forward, get that out of my way. And same thing here, I'm just going to go right up against that red. Right up against it, and then come forward. About the same distance, about that 1/4 of an inch roughly. and back over top of it again. Right to the front there. Same thing, just tie that off. Turn, nip. Okay. Next step, I'm going to take my silver wire. I'm going to come forward. I'm going to tie my silver wire in on my side here. And come back to that blue. Okay. Same with the holographic black here. I'm going to take that piece and just come back forward about that same distance, maybe a little bit further forward. I want to leave myself a good amount of space at the front here for the hackles. So, and now I'm just going to create my body. One complete wrap right at the back, and then just slightly overlapping wraps forward. Didn't like how that one went down, so just back it off. Tie that off. That a cut. Then I like doing one full wrap at the back, and then I'll come forward here. I want about 5 turns normally. There we go. Helicopter off my wire. If you guys can learn how to, for people that are new to tying, if you can learn how to helicopter it off, that's the best way. You don't have to worry about breaking any, or like having crappy scissors laying around. So now what I like doing is I like taking a little bit of this Gulf Thin Min and just giving it a real thin coat. And if you don't have a UV resin, just use a Sally Hansen's or a head cement. Nice thing with this UV resin is because it'll obviously when I hit it with a light it'll be dry, so I don't have to wait. I'm just giving it just a little coat, and then I'm going to take my little bodkin here and just spread that around so it's not dripping like that. Just give that just a nice spread, make sure everything's nicely covered. Okay, and the key is just keep this moving just so it doesn't blob down on you, and then hit it with a light. And as soon as you hit it, within a second or two, it's dry enough that it won't blob on you anymore. And then I'm just going to give it about, I don't know, 10 seconds or so of curing just to make sure it's fully cured. Normally what I would do here is I'll tie them up to this point, and then I'll whip finish it, because after this I'll put a coating of Sally Hansen's on it just to make sure there's no tackiness, no stickiness to the resin. So and I do that with all resins. It doesn't matter. I've never found one that is better than the other, like for that tackiness. I mean, this Gulf one is amazing. I really like it. Just frayed that a bit. It's actually one of my favorite resins out there. I've tried the Solar Res, I've tried the Loon, I've tried several others. I'm actually just going to try to cut that off. And this is the one that I like the best. I find that it cures the nicest. I like the fact they've got several different viscosities and a whole bunch of different colors and so on. So now I'm just going to come forward here. I've already got my foxtail put into a clip. So I'm just going to create a small little dubbing loop here. Come right back to where I stopped with the body. And come forward. I'm going to get my little handy dandy dubbing spinner. Put that in the bottom. Going to wax my thread. Don't want to lose this material when I start spinning, so wax the thread. Turn off notifications. Put my dubbing spinner back in because it just popped out because I was playing around. Now, put this in. Put it in nice and close to the fly. Okay, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to spread it out a bit. I want this spread. I don't want this all bunched together. Okay, once I've got that nicely spread apart, I'll give it a good spin. Dubbing spinner, and then I'll take the hard side of my toothbrush here, and I'm just want to make sure all those are out, which they are. So now I'm just gonna wrap, and once I get one wrap on, make sure I stroke everything back every time I go around. Stroke everything back. I'm creating a little. You can do the same thing with a dubbing ball. I just like the effect that the fox does. Because it adds not only to the flare out, but it adds the color and the movement as well of the material, right? So, like I said, this is an absolutely awesome little pattern. I tie it in multiple color schemes. So there, that is done, and I just like taking my brush and just giving it a brush out, making sure nothing got trapped. Okay, now I'll come back and I will take my blue dot Guinea, strip off all the under fluff, don't need any of that, and I'm going to tie this one in by the tip. Now I do notice this one has a tip missing, but that's okay because I'm not going to just use, won't use the very, very tip, which I normally don't anyway. So I've got it split, and that's what I'll tie in with, obviously the shiny side facing out. Fold that back, tie back over top of it, and then I'm going to cut that little bit of tip out there. So now I'm going to go towards you when I wrap, and I don't need a lot of material here, so I'm actually going to take off the leading edge here by just giving it just tearing it. So I've just taken that leading edge off. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap it. Wrap it. This does two things. First of all, it makes it a little sparser. And second of all, you don't have to worry as much about materials getting trapped underneath. So now I'm going to just tie that off, tie it off, stroke everything back, make sure I've got it tied down nicely. And you see how that fox is helping flare that out? That's what I'm really after with this pattern. I really want this to be flared out, right? So, because that'll act, it'll pulsate more when it's flared out. So I'm just brushing it just to make sure that those blue fibers, the Guinea, is not clumped together too much. Okay, same thing with your teal flank. Gonna strip off my underfluff, my underfur here. And again, it depends on what kind of effect you want. If you want lots of fibers, then don't peel off the one side, right? It's totally up to you how many you want in there. So in this one here, I'm gonna again expose the tip, tie it in by the tip, fold that tip back, tie over top of it, and then nip that tip out of there. Okay, now I'm going to take, again, that same thing, that leading edge off, because I don't need a whole bunch on this. This is just going to add, you'll see it kind of adds these little long legs. So this feather's not cooperating 100% here. It keeps wanting to turn on me, but there we go. Now we'll get it. So again, same as last time, one wrap in front of the other wrap, making sure that everything lays back. One little fiber's getting in the way there, but that's okay. And I might actually pull some of these little bottom ones here off because I don't need that much. Okay, now that I've come across, used it all up. Take 3 or 4 good turns there, 3 or 4 good turns in front. Nip off my feather, my stem, sorry. Brush that out so it's those little fibers are separated. And then I'm going to do a quick whip finish here. I'm not done, but I'm going to do a quick whip finish and change my thread over. I find that the black head is what you want on these. I've tried them with blue heads. I've tried them with red heads. I've tried them with a few different ones, and it's not that they don't work as well. I just found that they don't work any better. Put it that way. So I just stick with my black. Right, just a nice simple black. And normally I would tie this whole fly with black, but like I said, I just happened to run out of my Nanosilk, so I just gotta order a bit more from them. But so now I just build myself a nice little head. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. Going back over top of it a bit to help flare that stuff back. Give that a 4 or 5 turn whip finish. Make sure that's nice and tight. Hit it with some head cement of your choosing. I'll be using some Sally's. I'm stroking all that material back and just touch it with some Sally's there. Give it a turn. And like I said, I'll just give that, make sure I just stroke out those fibers. And there is the finished fly. I'll just zoom that out just a little bit. And then I'm going to show you guys something. I'll show you, I'm not going to use this one because it's got the fresh glue on it, but I'll show you when I tied earlier, and I'm going to get it wet. So you can see how nice and leechy, buggy this thing is when it's wet. It's actually quite amazing, and it like I said, it pulsates so much in the water. There we go. So, and that'll pulsate a lot in the water, right? And it's got a nice thin profile. And you can see that black in there, the little bit of black shimmer through that red butt, that attraction, a target point, and then all these little fibers here, they'll move like you wouldn't believe. They just move really nice in the water. So, alrighty. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that one, learned a little bit, and yeah, enjoy your time tying Spey flies. They're so much fun. These things, I just absolutely love tying them. I love experimenting with Spey flies. They really they can really have a lot of movement and stuff in them once you've built them well, and they work extremely well, especially swinging them, right? So hope you guys enjoyed that one, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of On the Bench with Sport Fishing on the Fly.